A white plastic bottle hits a pharmacy counter after work. The pharmacist turns the label toward the scanner. The machine beeps. The line behind the patient barely moves. On the screen, figures appear that refuse to be a single price. The patient is asked for a copay. It looks like the cost of the medicine. It is not. In a claims file, a health plan will be billed another amount for the same fill. The pharmacy will be reimbursed a third amount. Upstream, a manufacturer has published a list price that can sit far above every number spoken at the register. 4 figures. 1 bottle. A fifth party on the wire. United States Pharmacy Benefit Managers. They are not the prescribing physician. They are not the person in the white coat counting tablets. They are the administrators, placed between drug makers, health plans, pharmacies, and patients, so that a prescription benefit can run at national scale. Health plans hire them to hold the line on drug spending. That is the public reason.
The paradox is that the same seat in the payment chain can also be a place to earn money from manufacturer rebates that never print on the sticker, from spread pricing that lives in the gap between what a plan is charged and what a pharmacy is paid, and from pharmacies owned under the same corporate roof. The agent hired to discipline the bill can be paid from the fog around the bill. Do not turn that sentence into a wider verdict. Federal Trade Commission findings include staff analysis and qualified language about incentives and potential effects. This does not mean every PBM contract raises every patient's price. Concentration is not your copay. A rebate is a contract. A spread is a reimbursement design. Vertical integration is an ownership map. Each can lower a plan's net outlay. Each can also create a conflict the person at the counter cannot audit. Watch. The bottle is still in the bag. The beep already happened. The rest of the money moves later.
Most people meet a prescription as an argument about a manufacturer. A list price is printed. A hearing is held. A senator holds up a vial. The plumbing goes unseen. A health plan in the United States does not buy pills the way a household buys milk. It promises a benefit, then has to process claims against a moving catalog of medicines and a map of pharmacies that stretches across states. It has to choose which drugs are preferred, which require prior authorization, which must fail before another may be tried, and which doors are in-network. It has to obtain discounts from manufacturers without turning every fill into a public negotiation. That is a factory of rules. Factories get contractors. Pharmacy benefit managers entered as those contractors. Early work looked like claims processing, a card, a switch, a yes or no in a few seconds, a payment file later. The clerical job grew teeth. Once a firm sat on enough claims, it could assemble a pharmacy network. Once it assembled a network, it could steer volume. Once it could steer volume, manufacturers had a reason to negotiate. The discount that emerged was often not a simple off-invoice price at the counter.
It was a rebate paid later, contingent on formulary position and on share, settled on a calendar the patient does not keep. The Government Accountability Office, in its report on selected states' regulation of pharmacy benefit managers, writes the modern job down in plain language. PBMs administer prescription benefits. They negotiate rebates. They affect drug pricing. They use pharmacy reimbursement arrangements, including spread pricing. Those sentences are functions, not a prosecution. A legislator that sets out to regulate an industry first has to name what the industry does. GAO names it. Why hire the firm at all? Scale is the clean answer. A large employer running a self-insured plan, a union welfare fund, a Medicaid managed care organization, a Medicare Advantage contract, each faces more national drug codes than a benefits office can bargain one by one. The PBM offers a formulary already built, a network already signed, a rebate book already in motion, and a staff already trained to run utilization tools. Prior authorization, step therapy, quantity limits, specialty handling, mail order. The plan is buying an operating system.
There is a second answer, quieter, and it sits inside the split between list and net. A manufacturer can raise a published list price and increase a rebate in the same season. A plan that judges success by net cost after rebate may treat the product as acceptable. A member whose coinsurance is calculated off the list may walk out having paid something that does not feel acceptable.
The intermediary who negotiates the rebate is hired under a cost control brief. The same intermediary now stands exactly where the sticker and the settlement come apart. In selected states, insurance departments, boards of pharmacy, and legislatures have tried to license pharmacy benefit managers, to require disclosure of spreads, to limit gag clauses that once kept a pharmacist from saying that paying cash could be cheaper than running the claim, to police maximum allowable cost lists that set generic reimbursement, to require that some rebates move through to a plan or a member. A statute book of that kind is a map of complaints. Regulation is what a state writes when a private payment rule has consequences residents can feel and cannot see. Watch a claim move.
A pharmacy computer sends the fill across a switch with numbers from the insurance card. In seconds, the engine answers, covered or not, copay this, reimbursement that. The customer leaves. Weeks later, money still moves in rebate files and pharmacy reconciliations. The beep was not the whole transaction. A formulary is a menu. A network is a set of permitted doors. A rebate contract hangs weights on the menu. Hire the author of those documents, and you have hired a private industrial policy for pills. That menu is the job. The weights are the fight.
The payment chain is not a diagram. It is a set of people measured on different numbers. Start with the plan sponsor, an employer with a self-insured pharmacy budget, a union trustee, a Medicaid plan, a Medicare Advantage firm. Success is often a net per member cost that does not blow up next year's premium or next year's bid. The sponsor hires a PBM because the operating system is too large to write in-house. The sponsor may also share a corporate parent with the PBM. Then the hire is inside a family. A dollar that looks like a medical loss ratio problem in the insurance subsidiary can look like a PBM margin in the sister firm. The manufacturer faces a different clock. The clock is formulary. The prize is preferred placement on the formulary that sits in front of millions of insured lives. Rebate contracts purchase that placement. A higher rebate can beat a rival with a lower list price if the plan is scoring net cost. A competitor shut out of preferred status does not merely lose a discount war, it loses the default prescription. The manufacturer is not hiring the PBM. The manufacturer is paying for access to the menu the PBM writes. Independent pharmacy.
Acquisition cost on one side, reimbursement on the other. If reimbursement after fees lands below acquisition cost, the fill is a loss. The pharmacist can refuse a network, and then the customers with those cards go elsewhere. The pharmacist can take the contract and then live inside maximum allowable cost lists, recoupments, and audits. When spread pricing is in the contract, the plan may be charged more than the pharmacy is paid. The independent store does not receive the spread. Mail order and specialty pharmacies owned by a PBM or its parent do not stand in the same wind. They can be the designated door for high-cost drugs. Routing decides the door. The PBM itself is a firm with several possible revenue lines on one claim. Administration fees. Rebates retained in whole or in part, depending on the pass-through language. Spread, if the pharmacy contract and the plan contract are allowed to diverge. Affiliated pharmacy margin, if the fill is captured inside the family. None of those lines require a cartoon villain. They require a contract that does not force every dollar of savings to the same recipient.
The patient is measured on a copay, a deductible, a coinsurance percentage, a denial. Coinsurance tied to list price can punish the member for a rebate the member never receives. A deductible can turn January into a cash market. Denial returns to list. The patient is the only party who treats the package as the whole story. Watch one decision. A PBM places drug A on a preferred tier and drug B on a harder tier after rebate offers. Prescribers meet prior authorization. Patients meet delay. Manufacturers meet volume. Another decision locks a specialty fill to an affiliated pharmacy. Each move can be scored as cost control. Each move also relocates margin. The fence from the opening still holds. What changes here is not a verdict. It is the scoreboard each faction is actually playing.
July 2024. The Federal Trade Commission releases an interim staff report on prescription drug middlemen, not a final commission ruling on every contract. The language stays qualified. Incentives, potential effects. The fence from the first minutes still stands. What the report puts on the table is scale. The 6 largest United States pharmacy benefit managers handled more than 90% of prescriptions in 2023, more than 9 fills in 10 through 6 firms. A health plan shopping for an administrator is not browsing a wide bazaar. A pharmacy negotiating network terms is not facing a crowd. A manufacturer chasing formulary access is not knocking on dozens of equally powerful gates. Concentration changes the meaning of choice. A plan can still fire a PBM. Switching is not a weekend errand. Formularies, prior authorization rules, pharmacy files, rebate calendars, and member notices do not move like a box of folders. Independent pharmacies can drop a network. Then they drop the lives attached to that card. Manufacturers can reject a rebate term. Then they reject the volume behind it. The door is heavy. Now, the rebate, slowly. A manufacturer and a PBM bargain.
The published list price can remain high. The bargain concerns a later payment tied to formulary status and to share inside a therapeutic class. The PBM may pass that payment to the health plan, retain a portion, or mix the two, depending on the administration contract. A plan that scores drugs on net cost after rebate may prefer the product that paid more, even when its list price is higher. That can be real cost control for a budget. It can also lift the number a patient sees if coinsurance is a percentage of list. Formulary control is the steering wheel. Preferred, non-preferred, excluded, different copays, prior authorization as a gate, step therapy as a sequence. The clinical story can be sincere. The financial story can be sincere in the same file. A product that does not pay for placement can become the product that requires extra paperwork. Paperwork is not a formal denial. Paperwork is friction. Friction is how volume moves without a public vote. Spread pricing needs a worked example, and the example must stay honest. Picture a generic claim. This is an illustration of a design, not a photograph of a named store on a named Tuesday.
A plan contract might allow the PBM to charge the plan $100. A pharmacy contract might reimburse the pharmacy $70. $30 sits in the middle. If the plan bought a true pass-through of pharmacy rates, that $30 can shrink or disappear. If the plan bought a discount off a published benchmark and never sees the pharmacy rate, the $30 can remain. GAO recorded spread pricing as one reimbursement arrangement in this industry. Design is still power. The pharmacy does not bill the customer for the spread. The plan may never see the pharmacy's rate. The member's copay may match neither figure. 3 ledgers. Networks tighten the same logic. A preferred pharmacy can carry a lower copay, which steers feet. A pharmacy left off the preferred list can meet the same patient at a worse window number. Specialty networks can be narrow. Narrow can protect cold chain and oncology handling. Narrow can also deliver the fill to a pharmacy under the same parent. Vertical integration stacks the roles until the conflict is architectural. Insurer, PBM, pharmacy. One family.
The unit that writes the formulary, the unit that prices the claim, and the unit that dispenses the box can report to the same capital structure. Then a mail order program for 90-day maintenance drugs is a convenience and an internal capture. Then a specialty-only rule is a safety protocol and a claim on the most expensive prescriptions in the country. Affiliated pharmacies do not need to win a local competition if the benefit design makes them the default door. FTC staff describe concentration, vertical integration, formulary influence, and effects on pharmacies. They write in the grammar of incentives and possible harm, not in the grammar of a finished trial. Structure is documented. A universal overcharge is not. On one, the cost control function, GAO put in bureaucratic English, an administrator hired to run a benefit too large for a single employer to operate by hand. On the other, staff-level concern at the FTC that the same concentrated, integrated intermediaries use tools that save money and tools that relocate money, and that those tools are difficult to tell apart from the parking lot. Idealism says volume extracts discounts scattered plans could never get.
Constraint says volume also presses pharmacies that cannot walk away and sets clinical defaults patients experience as coverage itself. Barriers break when they break in state houses. Licensing, spread disclosure, spread limits. Some rules bite, some are sued, some are written around with new fee labels. A banned spread can return as an administrative charge, a reconciliation, a network fee, a specialty handling add-on.
The wound is not that law is empty. The wound is that the object is a bundle of private contracts that can be renamed faster than a statute can be reprinted. And then the 90% sits on the bundle. 6 firms, most of the country's fills. A small group of intermediaries can influence which medicines millions of Americans receive, which pharmacies fill them, and how costs are distributed. Influence here is not a shadow cabinet. Influence is a default setting. Do not resolve it. A plan with a hard pass-through contract and a vicious audit can still use a PBM as a weapon against list prices. A plan with a loose contract and an affiliated funnel can watch savings change address inside a family. The climax is a set of files, not a confession. Rebate file.
Formulary file. Network file. Ownership file. A country that argues about drug prices as if the only adult in the room were the company that made the molecule. Prices are supposed to be messages. A high price says scarce, or guarded, or extractive, depending on the sermon. A low price says abundant, or beaten down, or cheapened. The American prescription market taught a ruder lesson. A price can be a costume. The costume is the list. The body is a later payment timed to a formulary, a pharmacy rate timed to a network, a fill timed to an affiliated door. Once you have seen that, you cannot go back to arguing only with the costume. This channel's subject is not a hunt for demons. It is the moment an incentive system becomes coherent. Pharmacy benefit managers are coherent. They are coherent as cost control machinery for plans that cannot bargain a nation's drug catalog by hand. They are coherent as firms paid from the difference between what one party thinks it spent and what another party received. A rational contractor can still misalign a patient, a pharmacy, and a plan because those 3 do not share a ledger. Think of a discount that never meets the buyer. In a street market, a discount is a lower ask. In this market, a discount can be a side payment to the person who writes the menu.
The menu writer then looks like a savior to a net cost dashboard and like weather to a coinsurance patient. Both readings use the same number stream. That is the strangeness, not a morality play about riches, but a cash flow that can be named savings in one contract and retention in another. Integration makes the strangeness harder to narrate because payer, administrator, and dispenser can be 3 logos and 1 annual report. Calling that a conflict of roles is accurate. Stretching it into a verdict on every fill is the overreach this story barred at the very start. Some integrated designs may lower net plan spending. Some may trap fills. The column you worship decides which story you tell. What lingers is the menu. Medicines are not chosen only in examining rooms. They are chosen in coverage documents most patients do not read and most physicians experience as hold music. Administrators hired for a prosaic job now sit where clinical default, pharmacy survival, and budget math share a choke point. You can restrict spreads and still leave the choke point. You can pass rebates through and still leave the choke point. The choke point is the authority to decide which product is easy.
Sit with a colder fact about agents. Whenever a market becomes too complex for the buyer to transact directly, an agent appears. The agent is hired to simplify. Simplification is power. Power attracts payment from every side of the simplification. The prescription version is more intimate than a booking platform or a search ranking because the object is a molecule that keeps a person functioning and because the member has already paid for coverage before meeting the window. Look closer. Picture a locked portal and a quarterly invoice only 3 people in a benefits office are allowed to open. Picture a formulary PDF with green checks and red exclusions. Picture a network appendix that decides which door gets the specialty shipment. The patient is living inside those documents. If the agent who makes a medicine easy is paid from the making of that ease, whose cost was ever under control?